My guest today is Titus Rahiri, CEO and founder of KorumLegal. Titus is a senior corporate and commercial lawyer with over 20 years experience in private practice and as a general counsel. Titus founded KorumLegal to really challenge traditional legal services and to provide greater flexibility and value through managed legal services, contract lawyers, and consulting solutions for clients. Korum is headquartered in Hong Kong with offices in Singapore and London. I'm excited to speak with Titus about KorumLegal, which he founded around the same time that we started Lawcadia. I'm also curious to hear about the challenges for clients and future changes in the legal industry. Thank you for joining me, Titus.
Thanks, Sacha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. In terms of our founding as KorumLegal, previously I've been on the private practice side and then flipped over onto the in-house counsel side, the general counsel side, and I was frustrated as a buyer of legal services with what was available and the lack of integration of technology. And I thought there was a better way of doing things. And so the problems that we set out to solve as KorumLegal is three. The first was legal services industry was expensive, predicated on the hourly billing model, the partnership legal model for law firms, and it was incredibly expensive as a business or as a layman person to buy legal services. Second was that we felt that it was unnecessarily complicated and complex in the way it was structured. And the law and the legal services industry traditionally have been held on a pedestal. Lawyers and law firms were at the center of the ecosystem. Post the financial crisis in 2008, that ecosystem changed and law firms moved to the outer and clients and customers moved to the center of the legal ecosystem. And that was a necessary change. With that, a breakdown in the complexity and the complication of the legal services industry. And the third area is law has been difficult to access, and access to justice, whether you're a business or whether you're a corporate multinational at the top end, but also at the bottom end where at least half the world's population don't have access to any forms of legal service or legal support. And so trying to improve better access for people across that spectrum. Now, we don't do any work at the individual level, but hopefully the work that we do at the top level will help infiltrate down in technology, processes, etc., a way to do that.
In Australia and across the Asia Pacific region, certainly where you are in Hong Kong, there's a huge amount of challenges that everyone's experiencing at the moment, and that's because of the pandemic, but also with the economic recession. And I'm really curious to hear about the challenges that you're seeing.
It's an up and down battle, right? And the challenges that we're seeing, we're also facing as well as a business, as a scale-up business. And for everybody, health and safety of your team, your family is number one priority, and that should be the case for everybody. And we're being mindful of that from a business perspective with our customers and our clients, but also I'm being mindful of that for our team, as well as health and safety from COVID-19. There's the additional anxiety, the stress, the worry about future work, employment. So that's been a high priority for us. We've been in the fortunate situation where we haven't had to let anybody go. We have reduced work hours and therefore reduced costs, which I think most businesses have done, and also taken advantage with any government stimulus packages, etc., to be able to keep people at work and enable them to provide for their families. But health and safety has been number one for ourselves, but also for our customers. And then from our customers' perspective, it's business sustainability and resilience is what we're hearing and seeing. And a lot of our customers are very inward focused right now. And our role for those customers is just to be there and support. We've seen a huge demand in a request for information, for knowledge from customers around how to do things, around what others are doing, around where they might be planning for the next 12, 18 months. And so from that perspective, we've changed tack a little bit to get a lot more resource and practical information to help customers in that sense. It's just listening to our clients and customers as much as we can, and not doing the salesy thing. It's trying to be there alongside them rather than sell to them. One thing we are hearing is that despite all of this, workloads are increasing for in-house legal teams and resources are being constrained, budgets are being cut. And so there is that increased pressure, and the demand from the business side is also increasing. So before it might have been in a box as to what the demands were from business, but now it's gone like that. And legal risk and compliance have to manage around that. It's a tough time for everyone, but I think our resilience levels have been tested and been improved. It's tough, but I guess it's a positive out of it is that we are resilient, and also we realise what is important.
As you're saying, there's a higher level of workload for legal teams, and that legal demand I don't think is going away, but what is changing is the constraints that legal teams have to work within. Legal teams are looking at how can they be more efficient. I think there's some research in the US that's talking about actually growing your in-house legal team as opposed to necessarily briefing out the work.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I think this is a time of recalibration for a lot of legal teams. The information demand that they're asking for is because they want to recalibrate and plan around it. And I think for players like ourselves, KorumLegal and Lawcadia, the upside out of this is immense because we're already looking 2-3 steps ahead as to how things can be more efficient and effective. Technology is very, very important and a key enabler in that, but the people aspect is also very important, and how that integrates together, as well as the process, the systems and processes that meld the two. For us, it's about sitting alongside our customers and our clients, recalibrating ourselves in terms of what our strategy is moving forward, and then being ready for the bounce back, which will inevitably come. It's just being a good community player with our customers, with our consultants, with others in the legal ecosystem, so that we can get through this together.
The idea for KorumLegal really came out of the global financial crisis and frustrations that you're experiencing as a general counsel. I think in a similar way, there's going to be another surge of ideas and innovation that will come out of this crisis. What do you see as perhaps those key areas being for the legal industry?
I'm a big proponent of change and moving the industry forward. And as you said, the global financial crisis was a pivotal point. And I think this COVID-19 is going to be another pivotal point to accelerate the change. As part of recovery mode, there's going to be knock-on economic impacts, right? And so we're not going to be out of this in the next 6, 12, 18 months. And so the demand shift is going to even more increase from where we are now. So clients and customers' demands are going to be more profound, I think, and they will be a lot more discerning in how they're spending their dollar and what they're spending their dollar on. That's going to be a big change that we are going to see. I think there's also increased responsibility and increased obligations on the industry to collaborate, key players to collaborate, to provide solutions to customers along what they need. And I think the traditional legal services has been very siloed and very independent, but I think collaboration is going to be even more important now in order to provide to the clients, which I think is a good thing. I think collaboration is important. We know what our strengths are, we know what our weaknesses are, and so we should try and balance those out. With all of that and how that applies back to us as KorumLegal, and what we expect is that there is going to be a rise in more integrated solutions, so solutions that do combine the people, the process and the tech in order to create that managed legal services solution. There's been talk about it and there's been momentum in it, and I think this is going to be expedited because of COVID-19 and geopolitical, everything else that's gone around the world. Before we were looking at globalization as the panacea, and I think, as we all know, it's becoming localization into domestic. There's a lot of geopolitical tensions and crises at play. And so that will have an impact, a direct impact on how customers are buying legal services and solutions as well.
Thanks so much, Titus. It was really invigorating and refreshing to speak with you today.
Thanks, Sacha. Thanks to you and the Lawcadia team.